So you wonder, after small business owners across the country have been savaged by this socialist movement in blue cities and blue states in particular to keep businesses shut, small businesses are closing like mad. I think 21% of small businesses across the country have closed or are about to close permanently. 15,000 restaurants have closed across the country permanently. So things are bad enough. Now we're starting to come out of it because they can't defy reason and logic anymore, and they're starting to open. But guess who Nancy Pelosi's favorite lobby is? That's right, the Trial Lawyers Association. So the trial lawyers, smart, sound people, want the businesses to be able to reopen without the threat of a lawsuit the minute they unlock the door. But Nancy Pelosi takes way too much money from the trial lawyers, so they're already being threatened. And a member of the White House Economic Recovery Task Force, one of the chief economic advisors to Donald Trump's campaign in 2016, Stephen Moore joins us. And this white paper that's out, I've had a couple of attorneys on both sides of this thing, and you know where they both come down. But businesses can't open before they open with the threat of a lawsuit.
Well, you are so right, and this is a clear and present danger to the recovery in the United States right now, and the recovery is going well. We've seen 10.5 million jobs created in the last 4 months, but employers are saying they're reluctant to continue to hire workers if they're worried that every time someone might get sick, even if it's no fault of their own, that is no fault of the employer, that somehow they could get slapped with a $1 or $2 million lawsuit. They see this coronavirus and they see dollar bills floating around in their heads, and they see asbestos, and they see tobacco litigation. And the problem is that this will inhibit hiring. We estimate as many as 1 million jobs could be lost if the trial lawyers are not brought to heel here. And no one is saying that workers should not be able to sue an employer if they act negligently or improperly. But what we're saying is if someone just randomly gets sick for showing up at work, you can't run a business if you think you're going to get sued every time that happens.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I guess guys like us, it sounds like just simple common sense, but that never seems to work with the left. But if you put a set of standards out there and say, hey, you guys can open like this, as long as the employer adheres to them, then they shouldn't be threatened. And if somebody goes outside those bounds and puts people in danger, they should get sued. It sounds practical to me.
Yeah, that should be, by the way, that should be the liability standard at all times. Negligence. If you're negligent, you can be sued. If you act in a way that is harmful to your workers, that does not follow the law, absolutely, you should be, as an employer or a store, liable for that. And by the way, it's not just employers, although that's a big part of this. Think about nursing homes. Think about hospitals, think about stores and shopping centers. They are also, let's say someone shows up at a shopping center and then, 4 days later, they have COVID. Can they then sue the shopping center? That's what the trialers want. Well, how are any shopping centers going to be open? Think of all the jobs that would be lost. Think about in the case of the nursing homes. If someone dies of COVID in a nursing home, and a lot of the deaths are in the nursing homes, and by the way, there are a lot of nursing homes that have acted improperly, but even if you act properly and someone dies, we're talking about hundreds of nursing homes around the country that would shut down. Then, what are you going to do about elderly parents or elderly grandparents if the assisted living centers and the nursing homes all go bankrupt?
If there isn't some federally mandated safe harbor or something, just the way nursing homes have to insure themselves, their insurance carrier will probably drop them, to be honest with you. They'll close.
That is exactly right. And when you ask the question of why can't we get this resolved, you answered your own question. It is the trialers. It is the trialers. There's two groups in America that I find to be the most, I don't know if I'll use the word evil, but anti-America and anti-American progress. Number one, the teachers' unions, and number two, the trial lawyers. And so the teachers or unions are blocking education and the school choice initiatives the president wants, and the trial lawyers are blocking this initiative to keep our businesses open, to hire more workers. And incidentally, in these lawsuits, this, let's say you win a $2 or $3 million lawsuit. Guess what? The trial lawyers typically get half the money.
Oh, yeah. When they load it up with all kinds of expenses throughout it, they finance it, they charge interest to the client. I've been a subject matter expert many times. I know how they kill the client. But you know what? In New York, you brought up the teachers union. We had a rally a couple of weeks ago to open the schools in person, and I was fortunate enough to speak at it. And I said, you know what? The teachers union in New York is worse than any mobster operation I've ever seen in life. They run it like they're mafia. And what's happening in New York, if you should tell, Kudlow or the president, Cuomo and de Blasio are saying they're going to open the schools. Schools are going to be open in a week for in-person. At the same time, they're all in cahoots with Michael Mulgrew, the president of the UFT, the teachers union, and he's threatening a strike. So they're saying they're opening so they keep their funding, and then they're using Mulgrew to pull the teachers out of the schools so that they get their way anyway. And it's really a crazy thing that's happening in New York. I can't even believe it.
Yeah, look, my feeling about this, I feel very strongly about it because I have school-aged kids, and they're being very harmed by not being able to attend in-class instruction. And my feeling is, look, if teachers don't want to teach, if they don't feel it's safe, I think they have every right to not show up. There are plenty of people out there who will teach our kids. And the idea that it has to be all members of the teachers unions is crazy. In my neighborhood, we've got parents that are getting together, and you know what they're doing? They're creating makeshift classrooms, and you get 3 or 4 parents together, and they're teaching a group of 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 kids. Let's give the money to the parents so they can find a way. And, it's interesting because I live in a very liberal area, and a lot of the women who will see me at the grocery store or wherever, they know I'm conservative, so they don't talk to me. But you know what? They're coming up and they're saying, "Isn't that we got to do something about our schools, getting them open?" So I think we're seeing even liberal parents who care mostly about their kids. They're seeing this abomination, and I think this could be a game changer for teachers unions. They have overstepped their boundaries and the reason, and I think there's a real revolt against the power of the teachers unions, because teachers unions don't care about the kids; they care about the union.
And you want to know something? You always learn something on Liquid Lunch, but never as much as when Stephen Moore's on. So number one, I got to tell you this: I'm struggling with the ladies right now, and you just solved that for me. That's why they don't talk to me. They know I'm a conservative.
Yeah, but if you tell them you want to get the schools open, they're with you on that one, my friend.
Right, and then number two was, this is why I say the leaders of the teachers union act like gangsters, because the teachers that I talk to, men and women that I know, all throughout the public school system, I coached high school football in the public school system for years, they all say, we want to go to work. We don't want to go on strike. So the union is really just pushing the agenda. They're showing their members right now exactly what they are.
Oh, you're so right about this. Now, look, teachers, there are a lot of really, really great teachers out there who are worth their weight in gold. But there are also a lot of terrible teachers out there too. And the problem with the unions is you can't reward the really good teachers. They're underpaid, and the bad teachers are overpaid. But I will tell you this: I think that when you look at how the teachers unions, there was one of the teacher union bosses in one of the districts around where I live was asked about, well, what about the kids? And you know what this teacher union representative said? We don't care about kids. They don't pay union dues.
That's right. And, on our final note, I want to tell you one thing that happened. I used to work for Overstock.com. Patrick Byrne,
I know Patrick very well.
So, yeah, he's my mentor in life. And he's also, the chair of the Friedman Foundation for School Choice, right? So, there was a big thing where they took away a allowance to the teachers where they got like $50 for extra supplies, like pocket money, and they took it away from them. So Patrick says, hey, you know this guy Mulgrew, the union head. Tell him, what do they got, 200,000 members? Tell him I'll give every member of them a $50 gift certificate to Overstock.com. Okay, this is like $10 million thing, right? And I go to Mulgrew. I know him. He lives here in Staten Island. I talk to him. He says, wow, this is amazing. I love it. Let me talk it over, see how we can minister it, right? Comes back to me and says, hey, I did some research on this Patrick Byrne. He's in favor of school choice and charter schools. We don't want to accept a donation. So he turned down $10 million from a person because he was for school choice. That's bad news.
It is. So if we could just think about this, if we could get school choice as Trump wants, and we could get this litigation problem solved, I think we could see, I saw a statistic the other day, 4 million parents cannot go to work because schools are closed.
That's
4
right.
million.
Wow.
That's 4 million jobs we're losing.
All right.
4 million.
We got to leave it there. Mr. Moore, thank you so much. Always love having you. God bless you. Have a great weekend. We are going to buzz right through here with Dr. Russel Surasky with everything you need to know in just a second.